Welcome back. All right, so Toronto bounce back night tonight. I do find it interesting because I'm sure that the comment section will be filled with people who say, "Well, that's because Toronto had power plays." To which Toronto fans will say, "We don't have a power play." And tonight it finally came out of its slumber. It's been a while, and it kind of feels like the series is turned, but Montreal now goes home. They have back-to-backs. We'll see how that goes, right? So it's Campbell versus Price. Kotkaniemi's in the lineup, and he was impressive tonight. I would think Caulfield somehow gets in the lineup next game. That's my guess anyways. Foligno playing center with Tavares out. And there did seem to be some emotion in this with Tavares out of the lineup. The first shot was to Danault. That was saved. And so, Campbell gets into the game early. Nylander nearly scores. Foligno then had a chance right after that. Sherratt cleared the Nylander shot, so it goes behind Price, and Sherratt clears it out. Gallagher to Tatar. That was defended by Riley. So both defenses playing well early. The next chance was for Gallagher. That misses high. The Habs would press. In fact, really strong forecheck by Montreal at this stage of the game. And then it's Kotkaniemi scoring from Armia and Toffoli at 7:57. And then he gives a sign of this, and he's looking up. And what they said shortly before the end of the game was that this is towards the healthy scratches, the guys who aren't playing. And so he's still in solidarity with the guys that have been healthy scratches so far in this series. And we'll see which one of the rest of the four end up being in the rest of the series. Again, I would expect Caulfield in the next game. The Habs then pressed for another. The Habs, in the last two playoff years, are 6-0 when they score first. So it was a key thing for them to score first in this game. Shots were 6-4 for the Leafs at the half, but honestly, Montreal was outplaying them. They had far more shot attempts at that point in the game, and the shots didn't really tell you that Montreal was outplaying them. But then the press happens for the Leafs, and Spezza scores from Bogosian at 12:25. So kind of out of nowhere, and again, it was a pressure situation by the Leafs, but it's a tie game. Lehkonen would then try to restore the lead. Campbell made some saves. 3:35 left. The Habs get the first power play of the game. Little did they know that was the only power play Montreal was going to have. The best chance was for Petrie, but there was some shot blocking going on. A couple of nice saves from Campbell, and they kill it off, only allowing those two shots to the Montreal Canadiens. In the last minute, there was also a save on Toffoli. So it was a well-played, evenly played period at the end. You could see both teams had their share of opportunities. The shots were even. So you go to the second period. Early chance for Matthews. So Toronto jumps out of the gate early. Campbell stops a Kotkaniemi chance. The Habs were giving Matthews very little space out there. There's a reason. You give him too much space, he'll get goals. Gallagher had a rush chance. He fired that one high. Campbell then stopped a chance for Toffoli. Lehkonen then beat out an icing call. So again, it's pretty good back and forth, wide open hockey. And then Matthews scores from Holland Marner at 5:15 on a just fantastic rebound, and Matthews buries it. So they get that, and then they end up getting a power play not long after. So they go to the power play. Lehkonen was blocking passes, also blocking shots. Very good penalty killer. And overall, Spezza's denied. So they end up getting another power play. So they get the power play, and then they get another one shortly thereafter. Matthews fires one wide. Nope, this is where they score. Sandin scored from Marner and Matthews at 13:20. So, Dominic Ducharme decides to challenge for goalie interference. And it's the second time over the last few days where a coach challenges for goalie interference, and you kind of have to look and go, was it? I don't see it. And I generally, if it's goalie interference, I'll say it. But I didn't see anything to overturn a good goal on the ice. It has to be something that's enough for them to overturn the call, and they didn't overturn the call. So that puts Toronto back on the power play because the goal counts. So that's one power play for Toronto that was kind of self-inflicted by Ducharme. Matthews nearly jams one in. It was a dangerous power play. It doesn't score, but then they pressed after the power play ended. The Habs were doing some dumping and chasing, and that doesn't generally end up netting the kind of results you may want when you're behind 3-1 like this. The Leafs just were clearing it out. And then in the last minute, Perry had a shot that deflects wide. So we go to the third period with Toronto ahead 3-1. Matthews' line would press on the first shift. So early chance for Matthews here. Matthews' line pressed here. And when they started the game, they had Matthews on a line with Wayne Simmonds. So they were just in case. That was a just in case things get physical, we'll have Wayne Simmonds on the first line to start things out, just in case. So the Habs would press at around 4.5 minutes. Muzzin would end up clearing it out there. No harm, no foul. Price was caught behind the net. Kind of out in no man's land, puck out in front, but the Habs would clear it out. Again, no harm, no foul. The Leafs then press, and that draws your power play. So the Leafs getting pressure. Usually the team that's pressing at the other end of the ice will get the power plays. They'll force those. Usually it's where defenders are tired or they're out of position. You know, they're trying to stop a goal and you take a penalty. Nylander would score on that power play from Matthews and Riley at 8 minutes and 50 seconds. So how bad has Toronto's power play been? This is the first game where they've scored more than one power play goal in a game in 33 games. It's been a while. So I know Montreal fans are going to say, well, the refs handed it to him and the refs this and that. Hey, this is a power play that was terrible through the second half of the season. It was just god-awful. And tonight it feels like they started getting their mojo back. Simmonds then blocked a Weber shot. So, you know, Montreal was getting their share of opportunities here and there. They did outshoot Toronto in the third period. The Leafs weren't letting the Habs get any momentum. So they weren't letting them get sustained pressure. They weren't letting them get any momentum in this game. Some crisp passing, puck control by the Leafs, which you know Kyle Dubas, watching from above, was happy about. Because that's what he's preached all along, is puck control, puck control. And, you know, as long as you have the puck and they don't, you have a much better chance of winning. And again, it sounds so basic and simplistic, but that's their mantra, right? So Montreal, desperate. They pull the goaltender with 6 minutes left. Carey Price goes to the bench. The Habs managed to press. They did. They got some pressure with the 6-on-5. And with 4:18 left, the Habs dump one in that deflects out of play. I thought, all right, so Price has got to go back in. Nope. The Leafs had multiple empty net misses. And it's one of those things that, again, they're ahead by 3. So you're looking at this and thinking, well, they're not going to blow it. But on some level, there's Toronto fans that would tap me on the shoulder and go, oh, the Leafs can absolutely blow a 3-goal lead in the third period. So, right? So there's that sort of, don't miss that empty net. Oh, nuts, especially if it's icing and such. And, you know, and then Montreal scores 1 and then they score 2 and all of a sudden, no. So the Leafs, though, in the face-off circle were dominant. So I don't list the face-offs, but yeah, Foligno and Matthews were dominant in the face-off circle. And it is one major weakness in the game of Nick Suzuki. As much as I think he's a fantastic player, I really like Suzuki, his face-offs need to improve. It is one thing that in the offseason needs to change for him. Finally, the Leafs would get an empty net goal. It was Kerfoot scoring from Nylander at 18:37. And then it gets kind of silly. Things get scrummy with 28.6 seconds left. The Leafs end up with a power play there. There was more scrumminess with Simmonds in the middle. Simmonds has something going with Edmondson. He'd said something to him in the first and kind of threw a punch at him in that. So we end up getting penalties just to get them out of there. Just misconducts, just get them out. Just send them out of the game. You don't want that kind of silliness taken over. And in the end, Toronto wins this one 5-1. Not close. And certainly, I think one of the best games I've seen Toronto play. This is the first time they've beaten Montreal in a playoff game since 1967. It's been a while. Shots were 9 apiece in the first, 20-6 in the second in favor of Toronto. And yes, a lot of that has to do with the power plays, but also Toronto was driving the play quite a bit in that second period. And in the third, Montreal outshoots them 8-5. Final shots 34-23 for Toronto. Power plays, Montreal 0 for 1, Toronto's 2 for 6. Hits 44-36 in favor of Montreal. So some more hits from Toronto, a little bit of physicality. Matthews was throwing hits. I noticed Thornton throwing some hits too. So that's key to them evening up this series, I think. Block shots 19-16 for Toronto. Carey Price, 29 saves on 33 shots for him. And Campbell saves 22 out of 23 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they've evened up the series. And that's the first win in a playoff game in the career of Jack Campbell. So congratulations to him, a former Dallas star that is nice to see having some success elsewhere. And there you go. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as always regarding this game. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.